What's up, guys? You are on the New Right Network. I am your host, DeAnna Lorraine, and you are on Make Love Great Again. Don't go anywhere. Do not miss the show. We will be right back in less than 2 minutes.
We're in the middle of a romance apocalypse. There are more single adults than ever before. Marriage is on the decline. The birth rate is at the lowest point in history. People are not connecting and forming real relationships. For the first time in human history, the very concepts of marriage and romance, God, the family, gender, and even our national anthem are under attack. Our American values have been slowly deteriorating and replaced with liberal, progressive values. We're in the middle of not only the romance apocalypse, but a war on our very souls. Speaking the truth is called hate speech. Patriotism is now called racism. Believing in God makes you a bigot. The current state of America is directly intertwined with the current state of our relationships. We are actively enslaving ourselves into a loveless, joyless, genderless future. Men and women of common sense and a moral compass need to wake up to the destructive madness that is being thrust upon us in the name of progressiveness and political correctness, and look ahead to where this ideology and agenda are ultimately taking us. We can make love great again. We can make America great again. But we need to remember who we are. We need to remember the spirit and the values that once made this country and our relationships so great.
This is a struggle for the survival of our nation. And this will be our last chance to save it. This election will determine whether we're a free nation or whether we have only the illusion of democracy. And we will make America great again.
Woohoo! Hey everyone, and welcome to my show. It is Monday, bright and early for some of us. For others, not so much. Lucky you, it's about noon on the East Coast. And it is great to see you. Welcome to my show for those new and old. I am the author of the book Making Love Great Again, where we discuss how our American values are directly correlated to the state of our relationships, the family unit, and our love lives, and how they all intertwine, and how our American values are key to the survival of our nation and to the survival of our relationships. So what's up, everybody? We've got some people in the house. We've got a lot of great people in the house. So I've got everyone. Can everyone see okay? Can everyone hear okay? My voice is a little hoarse. I apologize. I spoke a little bit too much this weekend, I guess, and now I'm paying for it. Yes, that happens sometimes when you speak. When you speak your truth, you get a hoarse voice. But that's okay. I will speak on. Something is making your stream really choppy. Oh no, that's not good. Well, we've got some really important news, but first we'll talk about being proud to be an American. I have a really exciting announcement, guys. Guess what? Well, I won't make you guess because that's kind of difficult to do. I'm going to be getting a new co-host. Yay! I'm going to be getting a new co-host. So most likely he will be co-hosting along with me twice a week, most likely on Mondays and Fridays. We will be doing a twice a week co-host, and it is a man, and you probably know who he is. If you don't know, you will know soon, and you'll probably love him as well.
South Africa wants some clarification for what it is calling,
let's put this away. There's some sort of spam window popping up.
Let me read you what the president wrote last night.
All right, there. Okay. People keep saying that my stream is really choppy. Yeah, I think that it's sabotage. It's a conspiracy. I get it. Anyways, my new co-host is a really awesome guy. He's very outspoken. He holds nothing back. He's a big guy, and he is Joe Biggs. Let's just show you real quick, and he will be joining us today. 1 second, guys. You know. All right, can you see that? For some reason, it's not showing up here. Very weird. Anyways, his name is Joe Biggs. He will be on in person. He will be live. Well, not in person. He will be Skyping in. And great guy. He is a combat veteran. He served in Iraq and Afghanistan. And if you want to Google him real quick, he lives in Florida. And he's just a badass. He's also on CRTV. You might know him from CRTV. He's a show host and a staunch Trump supporter, conservative, great Southern values, and a defender of our Constitution and our nation. And a really funny guy as well. He holds nothing back. And he's going to be great. Really great co-host. The reason why is because I love doing my show. However, I find that if I had one other person, particularly a male, you know, we can bounce off of each other better. And it's not just always me just being a talking head, but I actually have someone then to make me funnier, right? We can actually bounce off of each other better. We can feed off of each other. It just kind of brings out a little bit of a different element, you know, makes it more dynamic and diverse. So I'll be most likely still be doing at least one show every week by myself. And then he will be joining me the other two. And we can, you know, expand our network by cross-pollinating as well. He's a really funny, cool dude, and you will love him. So Joe will be on at about 1:30, and we will talk about some of the most interesting news headlines over the weekend that have been important and go a little bit deeper in them. So Joe Biggs will be up in a second, and I will just trying to fix this issue real quick so that we can go on to some of the news before he gets here. But very strange. All right, let's just try one more thing. And how's everyone doing today? Okay. Okay, there we go. So we can solve that issue. All right, so that is the there we go. It's been very interesting down here. We've got a new prime minister again. How do you feel about the new prime minister? Is he a good guy? Good guy? Let's talk about South Africa, actually. I wanted to talk about South Africa because we didn't get to talk about it last week. But you know what? It's pretty crazy, I would say. Hold on. Oops. This is actually pretty disturbing. So they are, you know, they're going to work and to war against, you know, basically taking white South African farmers' land that they rightfully owned, and they're just taking them now and giving it to black Africans because they feel like, you know, it's repatriating and you know, reclaiming of land that was never rightfully these white farmers. And what do you guys think about that? I mean, I think that some of the most racist, violent things that you can do is to take people's who rightfully own this land and then just free and clear take it from them? The people that have worked so hard for all these years to make these farms successful, is that just something that you can just do? So of course Trump is expressing concern over white South African farmers, and you know, this, what sucks is that they are the ones that are making this issue about race, about whether your skin is black or your skin is white. You have a right to certain land or you don't, based off your skin color. I mean, if that's not racism, I don't know what is, right? But he says, Trump said, and thankfully, he says, I have asked Secretary of State, Secretary Pompeo, to closely study the South Africa land and farm seizures and expropriations and the large-scale killing of farmers. Thanks. South African government is now seizing land from white farmers. Don't you think that's an appropriate statement to make? I think that's showing concern for them. And I think that's very appropriate considering the scale of these seizures and of the killing and harming of these people and the harassment of these people that has been going on. I'm sure you guys have been hearing about it. It's been going on for a while. And of course, the left doesn't see this as concern. They see this as white nationalism, as white supremacy. There's a group of people in Africa. President Donald Trump is seriously concerned about it. Look at this twist. That group of people is white farmers in South Africa. This is the first time as president that Trump tweeted his concern about Africa. Twitter is our window into his brain, remember? And it was to let the world know that after a Fox News report, he was directing Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to study and monitor the treatment of those white farmers in South Africa. And you know what is really sad and scary? That they don't consider this a problem. They don't consider this outright stealing of land an issue. They think, no, this is white supremacy in full effect. I mean, what do you guys think? I know, I haven't completely studied it, but what they say was that this this land was never the white farmers, it was never rightfully theirs. Is that the truth or not? I mean, has anyone studied this closely enough to make a claim? The thing is, what could we possibly do about it? We can't force their government to stop. I don't know, but I mean, I think that we can. Is there any way that we can intervene? It's very bizarre. And then he says, this is a white supremacist talking point. Anti-racism groups blast Trump's white farmers tweet. So this is, so he can't even show concern against a group of people who happen to be white without it saying, meaning it's white supremacy. President Trump embraced a longtime white nationalist talking point when he tweeted about alleged large-scale killing of white farmers in South Africa, drawing praise Thursday from white nationalists and protests from anti-racism groups in the U.S. It's really disgusting that they're considering this a white supremacist, white nationalist talking point. His tweets grew applause from white nationalists in the U.S. who have strongly supported his presidency due to his tough stance on immigration. Well, this probably doesn't help with David Duke saying thank you to that tweet, stop white genocide. But at the same time, it's not his fault that David Duke is tweeting him and saying thank you to his tweet. Those people do that and they're going to starve. It's an old story called apartheid. You know, I don't know. But anyways, it's just, I think it's really sad what's happening. Lauren Southern has done a great documentary on what they're doing with the white South Africans over there. And it's really horrible. It's not acceptable. She's speaking at the rally and she met a lot of Boers who had escaped and they were coming over to thank her for telling their story. Wow. That's pretty terrible. It really is, though. It's really not good what's happening there. And you know, it's a slippery slope. What's to say that they wouldn't be doing that to then just people, white people who live there, right? And say, oh, that's not your land anymore. I mean, it is a slippery slope when you start, when you have like reparations being made for something that existed so many years ago, right? What kind of reparations are we now going to start making with the slavery in the United States? You know, at what point do you just say, look, this was in the past. None of us were around for this. None of you were around for this. None of you owned any slaves. Let's let this go and forgive, forget, and move forward as a country. We can't move forward if we're constantly thinking and focused on the past, right? Stop it. So, yeah, she was speaking at the rally. Yeah, Lauren Southern is pretty spot on. I mean, she's putting herself in some dangerous positions going over there. I would be kind of afraid to go over there, but she's revealing a lot of truth. All right, thoughts on John McCain, John McCain's death. Probably not going to say how I really feel about that, but I think it's very odd. It's kind of really abrupt. So one day he announces that he's no longer going to do the cancer treatment, and then the next day he dies. I know he said he had cancer, although he seemed like perfectly healthy the last time he spoke in public, right? He seemed like he was walking around and talking and everything. I didn't see anything wrong with the way he was acting. Certainly wouldn't have predicted that he would die the next day. The media reaction, it was started by the Muslims. It was far longer with the Muslims. Europeans did it for a few hundred years. Blacks sold out their own people. Europeans ended it in the West far earlier. Interesting. Well, it's just like the reaction when our immigration minister offered asylum to the white South African farmers. It's the same talking points everywhere. Yeah, you know what? People aren't stupid anymore. I mean, people have figured it out that the same liberal talking points go all around the world at the same time in the same kinds of newspapers. We're not dumb anymore. Sheeple know more. He had a very aggressive form of brain cancer, or so they said, right? Or so they said. But I'm trying not to get all conspiratorial. Oh, man. But you know what? The reaction from the left-wing media with the land seizure of South Africa is not appalling. That this is a racist mass land theft, right? This is a racist mass land theft. But the left believes in both South Africa and America that governmental racial discrimination is a good thing. That's what they believe, depending only on which race is discriminated against. In this country, we have minority-owned business loans, affirmative action, left-wing figures attacking people for their race. Yep. This is, it's just funny how they keep saying that this is like a nothing burger and that, no one's killing anyone and it's like a joke, or even that the white South Africans deserve this. They brought this amongst themselves. There's a 0 ounce of empathy when it's reversed. 0. Hope the governor, but I think that we should bring them over here. Sounds like they're intelligent people. They're producers. They're hard workers. They have skills, like really tangible skills that we could use as a country. Why not let all those white South African farmers here in our own land? I think they would be great immigrants here. They would actually contribute to our country. And this is why I tell people, when it comes to the mentality of race, you don't ever treat other people like you were treated before. Well, right, that's just 2 wrongs don't make a right, right? You didn't say anything about what BI said, so it had to be. You said nothing about it. Some people conveniently forget that just because one group of race was treated as such doesn't mean we turn around and treat. No, that cancels it out, right? That cancels it out. 2 wrongs don't make a right. And that's exactly what feminists are trying to do to men. And it's what black people are trying to do to white people. And it's disgusting. And we can't have this anymore. We need to move forward. There was something I was actually going to show you as well. Staff lowered the flag on the White House for McCain, and then Trump raises it back to full staff. And of course, that triggered criticism. Yep. Anything that Trump does, though, they're going to criticize it. And what about the Pope? Looks like the Pope is getting asked to resign. He's getting asked to resign. What do you think about that? Do you think it's possible that he might resign? I think it might be a historic event when the Pope resigns because of conspiracy and because of corruption. And all that pedophilia that's been going on, that finally he's being called out for, it's time. I think it's time that we just rip apart the seams of the Vatican. I don't think, and a lot of people agree, there's a lot of evidence that points to this direction, that the Vatican is not all that it seems to be. This is not all what it seems to be. And the highest institutions, the people that we trusted the most, aren't necessarily the most trustworthy. The people that we trust the most in the high places may seem all great and beautiful and pure, but they're the ones that are hiding, have the most to hide. We don't see that happening unless we have some more dirt on him that would force him to resign. So Shooter Down Under says, you don't like to talk about McCain because the more you learn about him, the more sick you feel. Yes, he was basically a traitor. Everyone loves to paint him as this war hero. Oh, John McCain, the war hero, you know, the POW. But in fact, he was one of the biggest traitors to our country. And, you know, what sucks is that I cannot argue this point with my friends, my liberal friends. I can't really say that he was a big traitor because they just don't believe it. They'll say, oh my gosh, he was the most honest person in the Trump administration. He was the only one that had the integrity and had the ethics to stand up to Trump and, you know, and speak his mind and stand up to the immorality of Trump and his administration. And I'm like, I don't even know where to begin. I don't know where to begin with some of these people. They don't realize that he's the biggest traitor. They don't realize that he's part of the deep state. But this is why it's so hard for people who know the truth to speak openly about the truth, because you immediately get labeled a conspiracy theorist or a loon or a wacko or a racist or whatever. McLean's trash. Yeah. This is why, well, I would say now, I was born and raised Catholic, but I do not really associate myself with Catholicism anymore. I would say I'm more Christian than Catholic. And that's fine with me. I've been going to a Christian church lately. I identify with it more. I relate to it more now. And I'm not so down with the whole pedophile thing. Sorry. It's just getting more and more gross. All politicians are part of the deep state, where they want to be or not, because if they move out of line, they end up like JFK. But what about Trump? Do you think he's part of the deep state, or do you think that he's an outsider? Do you think that he's an outlier? I mean, I don't know. I have my hope in Trump, but we really won't know. And what about the killing that happened over the weekend with the gaming? Crazy, right? We're going to be talking about that in a minute. It's a pagan Judeo religion. It's blasphemous. Yeah, the more I think about it, the worse it is. And actually, someone said, let's see, I'm trying to find it in the news. Former altar boy says he stole thousands of dollars from archdiocese as payback for abuse. This is, I don't want to say it's kind of funny, but it's not funny, but it is kind of like, well, at least there's some revenge there.
Priestly sex abuse and accusing the church of failing the children.
Let's watch this real quick. Not funny, but creative, I guess, for payback. Go altar boy. Got to do something, right? Some sort of retribution, even if it's behind their backs. Former altar boy says he stole thousands from archdiocese as payback for abuse. Pope finally acknowledges the gravity of priest sexual abuse report. Yeah, this is not putting him in a good position at all. This is a very precarious position, because if he knew this whole time the gravity of priest sexual abuse and he let them continue, And not only that, but he still elevated these priests to higher positions. I don't know how he can withstand this. I don't think it's possible then for him. I mean, in good faith, how could he possibly stay around? That would mean that he was basically condoning the behavior.
Pope Francis is condemning the crime of priestly sex abuse and accusing the church of failing the children he was supposed to protect. The Pope's letter today comes amid new sex abuse scandals for the U.S. Church. Correspondent Brian Yennis begins our coverage.
We showed no care for the little ones, we abandoned them. So writes Pope Francis in a 3-page letter in response to last week's Pennsylvania grand jury report alleging the sexual abuse of over 1,000 children by 301 priests over 70 years throughout the state. The leader of the Catholic Church admits the church has delayed implementing zero-tolerance policies, adding no effort must be spared to prevent sexual abuse from happening again, realizing the magnitude and the gravity of the damage done to so many lives. The Pope goes on to beg for forgiveness, but while exceptionally contrite, the letter does not offer any specific reforms moving forward, nor does it hand down any punishments for the abusers.
Wow.
Pennsylvania's Attorney General Josh Shapiro calls the Pope's letter powerful and says he hopes it will convince church leaders to cease their denials and deflections. The Archbishop of Washington, D.C., Donald Cardinal Wuerl, met with his Council of Priests just hours after the letter's release. Wuerl is accused of protecting nearly 100 abusive priests during his 18 years as bishop in Pittsburgh.
So look
Cardinal
at this.
Wuerl is no longer attending the church's annual World Meeting of Families in Ireland this week.
A former Pennsylvania altar boy who was molested by a priest as a child admitted in an interview Friday that he stole thousands of dollars in what he called payback for the abuse. Good for him. Mike McDonald, now 49, said he was abused starting when he was just 10 years old, but the incident that changed him came when he was 12. McDonald said when he woke up to a priest molesting him in a bed, he was forced to share with a clergyman. He told Reuters, "Ew. From that day forth, I would never be the same child," he said. "I went into shock mode and shut down. I would hold on to these secrets for 20 plus years. It's just unfathomable." McDonald, now a peer counselor at a drug and alcohol facility, survived multiple broken marriages, alcohol addiction, and jail time. He said the Archdiocese of Philadelphia paid for counseling sessions, but he would forge receipt and ended up pocketing more than $100,000 from the church. "I sought retribution in any form of submitting false invoices for a number of years." Good. I'm glad he at least got something out of this. Now that's horrifying. By the way, though, why are these kids sharing beds with priests to begin with? That's what I don't get. Why are they sharing beds with priests, and where, in what context, in what environment are they sharing the bed with them? Is that a good idea? Where are the parents? Why wouldn't have my kid share a bed with a priest if my life depended on it? I would be like, no thanks, you're going home tonight. So that's what I don't get. Leave in the comment section if you know the answer to that, because I don't know. Why would they be sharing beds with priests in the first place? Quite a precarious position. Very strange. But at least this guy pocketed a couple $100,000 from it. That's kind of nice. Okay. All right, now I'm going to have my guest on. Let's see. There we go. Call him in. We're calling. Okay. Strange. Okay. Hey.
Now I can see and hear you.
Okay, good. How you doing?
Good.
Awesome. Hold on just 1 second. Let me move you over a little bit. Okay. Okay. How's it going today?
Good. Just got done filming with CRTV.
Nice. What'd you guys do?
Talked about South Africa and Molly Tibbetts and the Jacksonville shooting.
Sweet. That's what we were just talking about, actually. So it's lagging right now. For some reason, the Skype is frozen. So I'm just going to see if it unfreezes in a minute or so. Hopefully it does.
Okay.
Good. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you are frozen. Let's see.
Hearts are heavy.
All right. Can I maybe try calling you right back and see if it unfreezes?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I'll call you right back. Hey guys, are you there? Sorry guys, hold on tight for just a minute while I try to reboot this. All we see is this frozen. Okay.
You know,
Okay. Apologies for the interruption, guys. We are back in action. Bad stream, too much buffering. Yeah, well, we're gonna get him back on in a sec. All right, we'll get him back on in just a sec, guys. A little bit too much excitement here. And how's everyone who just joined us the show? Welcome to Make Love Great Again. I'm your host, DeAnna Lorraine, and you're on the New Right Network. And as soon as we get Joe back on, we will call him. Maybe grab yourself a drink while we're waiting, something to eat. So, Florida shooting. How about the Florida shooting? Yes, I know it's laggy. I'm sorry, guys. We're just waiting for Skype to come back on. Hey, guys. Shooting survivor described mad rush to escape. Went into survival mode. So the thing is, this isn't about, and of course they're going to try to write this off as a problem with toxic masculinity. It's a problem with, with guns. You know, the two biggest things that they're going to blame it on are toxic masculinity and guns. So if we work on, and we get hard to work on dismantling toxic masculinity, and we get to work on dismantling guns or removing our guns, then we're going to just solve all the world's problems, right? Oh, Jordan Peterson, Blonde in the Belly of the Beast, and Matt Christensen all had the same issues. Wow. That sucks. I think there's something going on. It's a conspiracy. All right, we're going to try this one more time, see if it works. Thank you so much for your patience, guys. It's the microphone. Strange. Yeah, my Skype is just not working. Any questions so far for Joe Biggs? Just put it in the chat room, because apparently we have another minute. Let me just text him real quick. Maybe I do, maybe we do Google Hangouts instead. So frustrating. I know. I'm so sorry, guys. Madden Kings at their worst. I played a lot of Madden, a lot of Tecmo Bowl, a lot of Joe Montana Sports Talk. Never thought about killing someone over it, of course. I think this was, I don't know, this seems to me like not a false flag, but I mean, it's all just gun control. That's the only narrative that they will push is gun control. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is just in the essence of time, we'll just have Joe on speakerphone, and we will call him, and then we'll figure out the technical issue after my podcast, because we just don't want to waste any more time. And yeah, let's get him on. Hey Joe, I think in the essence of time, I'm not sure what's going on with the Skype, but it's continuing to reload and not allow me to make a phone call. So how about we just, conference you in via phone for the next for the rest of the show, and then I'll get my tech guys to look into it after the show's over today, and we'll get it all solved.
That's fine.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So sorry for this happening. I don't know what's going on here.
Nah, shit happens.
Yeah, especially when you don't want it to happen.
Yeah.
So tell me, what are your thoughts? You are on the show now. What are your thoughts on the shooting that happened over the weekend, the gaming event shooting?
Well, I mean, we've had a society, we've had guns around us forever.
Mm-hmm.
It really never been that big of an issue before. I mean, my dad used to tell me stories about having guns in the back of his truck, in high school, and there would be guns around, the high school. And at the end of the day, everyone's going hunting, shooting themselves, and these things. I mean, there used to be a time when we had differences with one another. You'd call the other individual out. You guys would go outside and fight it out or whatever, and then shake hands and walk off, and that'd be it.
Exactly.
But we've seen this normalization of violence when you don't get your way. I mean, you can't turn on the TV without seeing some, leftists crying and pouting and playing this victim card because they lost an election that the media, lied to them about and told them that they had a 100% chance of winning.
Yes.
And we've seen this rise of Antifa. We've seen this rise of these, violent mobs of social justice warriors attacking people who don't think the same way as they do. So I'm not surprised. I mean, this is the next step.
Yeah.
That, these kids, these young individuals, they turn on the TV and they see people not getting their way and they become violent. They lash out, and it was bound to happen. And it sucks that it did happen, but this isn't an issue about guns. This is an issue about us as a society, as we a people, and how we're going to step up and fix this issue. It comes down to parents. Parents need to parent. Parents need to stop throwing an iPad in their kid's face so that iPad can babysit them. Parents need to, not be so lazy to go, hey, play video games all day. And, so I can go drink a glass of wine and do whatever. At some point in time, we've got to sit down at the dinner table again and have conversations, and you've got to have that strong male figure in your life and that good, supportive, strong mother that's there at the household that, when you come home from a day of school and this kid bullied me, he picked on me, and dad goes, well, sometimes you got to learn to stand up for yourself, and if you get your ass kicked, then so be it. But you stand up and you walk away a better person because you tried.
Yes.
You don't reach for a gun.
Yeah.
Why are we reaching for guns and shooting people? And that's what's changed. It's this mentality that's somehow flipped over the last 10 years or so that it's we want to go to this extreme violence before even just kind of going, hey, it's really not that big of a deal. It's a video game I lost. Congratulations. I got to put in more work next time, and maybe I'll beat you, but, hey, you got me this time. We need to get back to that.
Okay, by the way, I'm going to try Skyping you one more time on this call, and just to see. I'm going to try Skyping you one more time.
Did it work?
I'm
Can you hear me?
Yes. But I'm just going to try and see if it doesn't. Okay. Sorry. We have a lot of people giving you shout outs in the room. Okay, now I can call. Okay. You're coming in clear? Yep. Yes. Okay, cool. Yay.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that I know there's a lot of guys these days that didn't grow up around guns, and they, kind of like the soy boys who grow up without guns, and I think it's actually quite detestable that these guys are so anti-gun, and they're so, running around with this crusade of, we need to disarm everybody. We need to have gun control. And it's like, do you even realize like what we're doing? You're telling yourself, you're telling the country you want to willingly be disarmed from violent people, and it's people that grew up without guns, I think, that are the people that we should fear the most. Most people who grew up with guns or grew up hunting or learning self-defense are the kind of men that we want in the world for the most part. And those are typically the guys that don't abuse guns. It's the people that grew up without strong masculine father figures and without the proper handling of guns. I think those are the people that we need to fear the most.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to be a subject or you want to be a citizen? A citizen protects themselves. They have the right to stand up against a tyrannical government. And, that is the point of the entire Second Amendment, to be able to stand up and go, hey, you guys are overstepping your boundaries. This is me. This is my land, and I can do what I want. You guys are here because we allow you to be here. And if you're not doing the right thing, we'll step up. A subject, we're at the mercy of the government to do whatever they say. And I don't want to be a subject. I believe 1776 happened for a reason, and we will stand up. And I think that's what this country, that's what makes this country great, is we have that ability that so many other countries don't have. And, sometimes you're going to get your ass whooped in life. I mean, part of becoming a great man, a great woman in life is failing. Yes. If you don't fail at all in your life, then how can you ever grow? And if you said you've never failed in your life, you're obviously an absolute liar. But we fail, and these are stepping stones to becoming great leaders, great friends, great lovers, partners, fathers, mothers, daughters, brothers, sisters. We have to fail to grow in life. And if you can't fail and walk away from that, and see that as a point to learn from, then there's some real mental issues going on there that need to be addressed. It's not that tool.
It's mental issues, and it's horrible parenting and horrible schooling. When they've done the whole everybody gets a trophy thing, and they've replaced competition at school with everyone's a winner. It's even in school, they replaced games like tag or capture the flag with everyone's a winner kind of games. And again, that reinforces this notion that you can't lose. Losing is bad and scary. So we're going to take that ability away and make sure that you live this very protective, unscathed life where you don't have to have your feelings hurt. It's all about avoiding hurt feelings. And then they grow up and they're a complete wussy, and they don't know how to protect themselves. They don't know how to deal with failure or loss. And we see the effects right now of this generation becoming adults, and it's not very pretty.
Yeah, that's a great point. See, I didn't grow up in that time. I mean, if you lost, you lost, But yeah, you're right. That has been going on, and that's going to have a huge effect on people as they become older. I mean, a grown human being who hasn't gone through that experience of loss and understanding how to move on from that. That's a pretty dangerous thing. I mean, because here you are, you're at your full peak strength in a sense, and you've got the ability to drive, you got this ability to buy guns, you've got all this freedom now because of your age, but you haven't gone through all these steps that we have gone through already as children, from falling off. And I remember the first time I got a motorcycle. I got my first motorcycle at 5, and I fell off and broke my collarbone. My mom was in a panic, and she almost wanted to divorce my dad over it. But now I'm 34, and I've been riding bikes for like 29 years. And the things I've gone through, and the wrecks, and the things have gotten me to a point where I feel like I'm a very safe driver, and very knowledgeable and understanding, and I feel very confident in my ability on the road. And just like in life, as an adult, when you go out into the workforce, you need to have that confidence in yourself, because you have failed and you have grown from that. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of what we're seeing today.
Yeah. I can't tell you, I'm so grateful that I didn't grow up with cell phones and with, with like iPads and everything, because my parents were like, it's daytime, play. You're going to go outside and you're going to play. And we would, and I would like get lots of scraped knees and bloody legs, and I would fall down from trees and do sorts of crazy things, and sometimes I would get hurt. But that's like, then I'd come in at the end of the day with scraped up knees and stuff, but it was like you learn and you play and you get dirty. And now, I'm grateful I didn't have my first cell phone until senior year of high school or something, but I'm just grateful that I wasn't raised by YouTube and raised by just an iPad, which is what so many parents these days do, and they don't even think anything of it.
Yeah, I remember I learned my lesson with guns. I was about 7 years old. My mom, and this is a different time. I was 7 years old, and I'd come home from school. I was my own babysitter. Yeah. My dad's at work. My mom's a college professor, and they didn't get home. You get off school at like 2:30 or 3. Yeah. So from like 2:30 to 3 until 6 or 7 at night, when they get home after traffic and all that, I was by myself. And one day I remember I broke into one of my dad's little cabinets, and like a big one, and it was a shotgun. And I was sitting there playing with it outside, and I pulled the trigger, and it threw me on my butt.
Oh my God!
And did I learn fear, respect, and what it's like to be mortal really quick. I remember I dropped that gun, and I was like, oh my God! I just remember the smoke coming out of it, and I ran back inside and put it up, and I shut the door. And obviously, my dad comes home, and just being, not a horrible person, can kind of tell there was something going on. He's like, what happened? I said, well, I opened up that thing, and I found that you had a shotgun in there, and I was playing with it. And then he beat my ass, which was good. But then he took me outside, and he goes, look, this is how you use it. This is the bad end. This is the good end. This is the safety, whatnot, and gave me a lesson on it. But he knew how to do it, and he passed that on to me at a young age. And then I was able to take that fear that you should have from a gun. You should be able to fear that and respect it, and know that it's an amazing power that you can hold and wield. And I learned at a young age. And just like you said, a lot of kids don't grow up with that anymore. And that's just, like I said, this is all generational type stuff of how society's changing. The guns have been the same. They haven't changed.
So true. Everyone says, well, the Second Amendment was created for when people had muskets and, those kinds of guns. But now that guns have changed, we need to alter the Second Amendment as well. And I think that's just bullshit.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the South Africa, their farm seizures of the white South Africans? What is your opinion on that?
It's a crazy thing that's been going on. I've been interviewing and talking to people, Karen Smith, and so many different individuals from South Africa that have been lucky enough to move to places like Texas and gain citizenship. And they've got a lot of friends and family that still live in South Africa. So for the last year and a half, I've kind of been submerged in this conversation with many people on the ground in South Africa and refugees and stuff that have made it here to become citizens. And it's horrifying what's going on there. And it's amazing that, I would say for the last better of the year, I've tweeted Donald Trump, look at these videos, look at these videos, look at these videos. And then, what's her name? Lauren Southern, she went down there and she did some videos and then a little documentary and things like that and put that out there, and we didn't hear anything. And then eventually Tucker Carlson talks about it, and, Trump's tweeting about it. And, to me, I was like, I think I was like a little kid for Christmas, because I was so happy
Me
I was
too.
running around the house, jumping around, bouncing, because these people need our help.
Yes.
You know, they've had the rights to that land for a long time.
Yeah.
The Dutch settlers came in the early 1600s. They made a deal with the Khoisan people, and that pact remains today. And that's their land, and they farm it, and they do a great job at it.
Yeah.
Look at what happened in Rhodesia. Rhodesia was full of white South African farmers, and some of the northern tribes came in. It's now Zimbabwe, and they're eating rats because they don't know how to farm the land. And sadly, that's what's going to happen in South Africa if they get rid of the people that actually know how to work the land. And it's not just white South African farmers. It's any of those farmers in there, any of those Boers that are out there that are working. They're going out, and these guys are moving in. They're saying, hey, give us your land or give us your life. And it's been happening without law and without government for a while. They've just turned their head and allowed it to happen. But now the government's stepping in and going, yeah, that's fine with us. You can do that. So now it's, sanctioned genocide, from a government, and they're going in, and these farms don't have a lot of, these farmers don't have a lot of way to protect themselves. I think it was like a year ago, they confiscated somewhere around 300,000 guns. So the only protection these South African farmers have is their cell phone to call a neighbor saying, hey, we are being shot at right now. Someone's in our house trying to kill us. And what they're doing is they go into the middle of the night now with these jammers on these huge backpacks. They jam that cell phone signal so those people can't call out. The husband is then tied up. The women are raped in front of the husband and the sons. The women are then, tortured and cut up and killed. And the husband has his eyelids cut off and forced to watch. And he's usually killed last. And this is happening on a very large scale, and it's happening on a daily and weekly basis. And people are essentially playing Russian roulette. They don't know if they're going to be next, and it's horrifying to see the stories. I encourage each and every one of you out there right now, when you get done watching the show, go on YouTube and look up farm murders in South Africa, and look at what's happening, the horrific things. If that doesn't really piss you off, if that doesn't get you energized to want to help these people out, I don't know what else will.
That's sickening. It's heartbreaking and sickening at the same time. And it's hard to believe that this is actually happening and it's actually being condoned, and it's being encouraged, and no one's really saying anything about it. The media tries to play it off like it's not a big deal, like they're minimizing it, or that they're deserving of it. Well, it's kind of payback for the land that the white South Africans stole from the blacks, which is really not true either. It's a false narrative. But they're making it out to look like they stole this land at some point, so this is just retribution.
Well, if you're white, it's okay. I mean, it's okay for white genocide. I mean, this is the disgusting thing is we can't, what is it, 2018, and social justice is this huge thing in America where you have all these white liberals that are like, oh my God, we've got to help these people out and these people out. But then you go, hey, look what's happening in South Africa. And they're like, you're racist if you bring that up.
It's just crazy.
There's literally trucks driving up and down the road in South Africa saying land or life. I mean, give us your land, Boer, or give us your life because we will kill you for it. I mean, that's insane.
It is. It's lunacy. But they're like, oh, nothing to see here, or it's racist and it's a white supremacist talking point that Trump would dare show concern over these people who are getting killed. No, that's white supremacist talking point. I mean, really?
Yeah. My best friend's South African. His father, obviously South African. He was in the military there. They're great people. They have a lot in common with Americans and the way we look at stuff and how we view a government and how we want things to work. They're hard workers.
Yes.
I mean, if we're ever going to grant refugee status for a people, it's these South African farmers. I mean, we could get them out here. They're going to assimilate well. They're going to fit in. And they're going to love having to not look over their shoulders every single night and wonder, is my daughter going to be kidnapped because she's white? Is my son going to be shot in the head, execution style because of that? They have baby rape statistics there now.
What?
Like that's insane. Elderly rape. I mean, the things that are happening there in that country over the last few years is just horrific. And it's just high time we get something done. And hopefully Trump tweeting out Secretary Pompeo to look into this. Maybe something will happen. Maybe something good will happen.
Yeah.
But fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, it's barbaric what's going on there. And where it's also a slippery slope. If that is allowed to happen, then what else? I mean, are we going to then have the same thing happen to America because of what happened with slavery hundreds of years ago? You know, even though none of us are alive who own slaves, is it, you know, it's retribution and payback time now of white people here, which is already happening in some form, actually. But I mean, it's a slippery slope of what then is then justified in that premise, right?
Yeah.
That's scary. And they do bring valuable skills. They would be an asset here. I hope that we can bring them here. I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, instead of some of these other random countries that we don't know a lot of these people's background on, and they obviously have a culture that clashes with our own, I say we bring in someone who's going to have the, you know, immediate ability to assimilate right off the bat and jump right in. There's not many cultural differences between us and the South Africans. And like I said, I'm friends with a lot of them. And I mean, I feel like I've known these people my entire life because we fit in so well.
Right. And they would be hard workers. They would be a positive contribution, not a drain, like so many of these other countries are. And it has nothing to do with the color of their skin. It's their ethics. It's the values and the skills that they bring. That's what we want, no matter what color their skin is. It just happens to be white, so therefore they'll push the white supremacist narrative if we want them to come in. But it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. It's amazing. The liberals are insane. It's like, hey, let's take a bike ride through Syria because people are so amazing. And then they get murdered. I'm like, you can't put lions and giraffes together. No matter how much you like lions and how much you like giraffes, lions and giraffes are not going to coexist.
No.
Lions and gazelles are not going to coexist. One's going to kill the other. One's going to run for a while, but it's going to get caught because it's going to get tired. I mean, to take these so diverse cultures, you know, this whole multiculturalism thing is just insane. It's just like, well, we had another attack in Paris. I'm like, no shit.
Yeah, like,
I've been to Paris recently. Well, I'd say it's been about a year and a half or so. Whenever the Bataclan theater attack happened, that's the last I was there. But, I mean, to go there, I mean, I've been to Iraq and Afghanistan. Talk about multiculturalism. That place France is losing their culture, and they're completely giving way to this Middle Eastern culture that is just, it's insane. I mean, it's scary what's happening in the world. People need to wake up quick.
It's sad. I mean, I was in London a couple weeks ago, and I was like, am I in London or am I in Dubai? Like, I had to give myself a reality check because it was like so multicultural, and that, like, I loved going to Europe because of that, because of the uniqueness of France, the uniqueness of Spain. Everything was so unique and very cool, and they had such a beautiful culture. And now they just want it to be all homogenous. Muslim, pretty much, not even homogenous, but it's like you feel like you're in little Muslim, little Dubai, little Saudi Arabia.
Well, it's interesting because they're saying that we don't have a culture. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Lauren Southern again when she was in London. She was interviewing like Arabs and Chinese and all that. And, you know, like, you know, what makes an English person English? And they're like, or what is English culture? I think that's what she asked. I was like, oh, it's multiculturalism. And she goes, oh, okay. He goes, well, you know, where are you from? The guy goes, I'm from India. He goes, well, what's your culture? Well, we have curry, and he's going into all these different things, and we do this and that. She goes, so you have a culture. And then this Chinese guy goes, well, our culture is, you know, karate, and you know, I'm just saying random stuff, but he was going through all the stuff. So he's basically saying that all these people, you know, people of color have cultures, but white Europeans and Americans, we don't have a culture. We need to open ourselves up to everyone else's culture and allow that to happen, because those people are cultured. We're like vanilla. We're plain, we're boring, and we need to inject ourselves with all this other junk to be good, apparently.
We need toppings, you know, all these different kinds of toppings, because we're just
cultural toppings.
Yeah, cultural toppings. Those are toppings I would prefer not to have.
Yeah.
You know? And the thing is, if we continue to emasculate men and castrate them and put muzzles on them and eradicate their masculinity like so many people are trying to do, then it's only going to happen faster, you know, because women naturally will crave more, you know, masculine dominant men, and then here comes the Muslims coming through and kind of, you know, make their own population of babies.
There was some article that came out yesterday. I can't remember who it was from. It was one of those British ones, like Metro or something like that. And it was like, women prefer to see their men in lingerie. And I'm sitting here thinking, what kind of freaking woman really comes home at the end of the day and like, you know what gets me going? Seeing my man in lingerie.
Ew.
So I tweeted out, I was like, how many women actually think, like, how many of you women are going, yeah, that's a good idea. I want to see my guy. Not one chick, not one woman went, yeah, that's a great idea. I'd love to see my husband in a bra and a T-back or a thong. No, that's just like, why are we doing that to men? Why are we bringing them down to that? You know, that's so ridiculous.
I need to see that article. That's atrocious.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull it up really quick, and I'll tell you the name of it.
It's horrible.
But, even Don Jr. Tweeted about it today, too.
They love to create this narrative that, like, women like sissy boys and girly men. I'm sorry, they don't.
No, I see. I'm glad you brought that up, because I see this stuff all the time. Mm-hmm. When I go out to bars and stuff like that, and if I strike up a conversation, I go, I'll ask girls, just, do you like a guy that has, like, a man bun and like tight jeans, or do you like the guy that's more, muscular or whatever, that's outside working out and shooting guns? And she's like, honestly, I'd rather have the guy that's a little bit more muscular and, like working out. And I go, yeah,